Hey guys, welcome to a special collection video. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my Game Boy collection, which is special to me. You know, the Game Boy was like my first taste of video game freedom. As I've stated before, you know, I have an older brother, much older brother, and I have a bunch of older cousins. And back in the day, in the 80s, you know, not only was I the only girl, but I was the youngest. And I didn't get a lot of time with the Nintendo. You know, they didn't like to share. So once I got my hands on my own Game Boy, that was it. You know, I was able to play whenever I wanted. You know, if I had batteries, I was able to play. And people didn't make fun of me when I died, you know, over and over again. The Game Boy was released in Japan on April 21st, 1989. And this marks the 25th anniversary, which is awesome. That makes me feel old. It didn't come to North America until July of 1989, but I didn't get the Game Boy until the Christmas of that year. So I guess we'll start off with my handhelds. And as you can see, I have an original boxed Game Boy here. Let me pull it out so you can see it. This thing was awesome. You know, it's in great shape. This isn't my original one that I had back in the day, but, you know, it might as well be. Brings back all those great memories. And then we have another Game Boy. This is like a teal Game Boy. It's part of the Play It Loud series that Nintendo put out. So there's crazy, wacky colors all out there for original Game Boys. And I also have a Game Boy Pocket, which is an amazing handheld. It's much smaller than the original Game Boy. But I just love it. You know, it fits so comfortably in the palm of my hands. I guess we'll move on to the games. As you can see, I don't have any boxed copies of Game Boy games. And you guys are probably like, really, Steph? I thought you're supposed to be a collector. I am. I collect Game Boy games. And honestly, I don't care if they're in the box or not. I just want to have the games. You know, I want to get those games back that I had in my collection and the ones that I didn't have in my collection. Just want to experience how awesome the Game Boy is. And I don't care if it's in the box or not. You know, honestly, having carts is just as easy because I can just stow them in this, you know, bin right here and keep it moving. So I don't mind that my games aren't boxed and complete. I actually prefer the carts because it's a lot easier to manage. So let's get into my Game Boy games. I guess I'll start off by showing you guys my newest additions to my Game Boy family. I got these couple of games in the mail recently. Revenge of the Gator, which is by far the best pinball game that's on the Game Boy. Tour de Thrash. It's actually Skate or Die Tour de Thrash. I never actually played this, but TV and Les spoke highly of it. I played the original Skate or Die and I loved it. Have so many fond memories about that one. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Back from the Sewers. An amazing beat 'em up. One of the better turtle games. And it's a lot better than Fall of the Foot Clan. Roland's Curse. This is a Zelda-esque game. Haven't really spent a lot of time with it. Spot, The Cool Adventure. You gotta love Spot. Spot was the man back in the day. Then we have here Dennis the Menace. One of my favorite games on the Game Boy is definitely Burger Time Deluxe. Very similar to the NES version. Had a blast with it back in the day. Spent so much time with it. Radar Mission. Mega Man 2. This cart has definitely seen its better days. I need to clean that ASAP. But it works perfectly. Joe and Mac. Great platformer. So much fun. Solitaire Fun Pack. This is a fun, surprisingly, this is a fun game of solitaire. It's one of my guilty pleasures. Balloon Kid. Solomon's Club. Love that cart. Look at the art on that cartridge. It's amazing. Street Fighter 2. And we have here Tiny Toon Adventures, Bab's Big Break, which is surprisingly fun. You know, these cartoon games back in the day really were a lot of fun. Mickey Mouse Magic Wands. Disney's Darkwing Duck, one of my favorite Game Boy games. Very hard though. I don't think I've ever completed that game. Kirby's Dream Land. Castlevania 2, Belmont's Revenge. This is another Game Boy cart that has seen better days, but it works perfectly, and it is a great Castlevania game. Great portable Castlevania game. David Crane's The Rescue of Princess Blobette. This is the sequel to A Boy and His Blob. The Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle 2. Didn't really like those games. Game & Watch Gallery. These are fun little, mini games. Yoshi's Cookie, great puzzler. Then we have here Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3, classic. Super Mario Land 2, 6 Golden Coins, another classic Mario title. Kid Icarus of Myths and Monsters, really hard game. Operation C, great Contra game. I don't think a lot of people know about this one, but it is superb. Marble Madness. Kicks or Quicks, hard puzzle game. I have no clue what you're supposed to do in that game. Snow Brothers, very similar to Bubble Bobble, lots of fun. Quark. This is Donkey Kong Land 2. Card is kind of messed up, but works perfectly. Arcade Classics 2, we have here Centipede and Millipede, two amazing arcade titles. Donkey Kong Land 3. Donkey Kong, 94 basically. Classic Donkey Kong goodness, awesomeness. The Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening. Kirby's Pinball Land, another great pinball game. Muru's Mission. Straight up Looney Tunes. Adventure Island 2, Aliens in Paradise. Amazing platformer, so good. Mario's Picross, my favorite puzzle game. So much fun to play. I beat it numerous amounts of times. Mickey's Dangerous Chase. This one here is a straight up classic. Disney's DuckTales. Fortress of Fear. Or, I'm sorry, it's Wizards and Warriors Fortress of Fear. Kirby's Dream Land 2. Dr. Mario, another classic game, but I'm not really into the Dr. Mario series that much. Alleyway, to me, so basic, but so much fun to play. Definitely in my top 10. Krusty's Funhouse, get a little Simpson action in there. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. You guys remember that movie, don't you? Straight up baseball. It's as generic as it gets, but it's a lot of fun. Got some Pokemon action here with Pokemon Red. And then we also have here Pokemon Blue. Two Pokemon games that came out exclusively for the Game Boy. I could be wrong, but yeah, because I never really was in the Pokemon series until recently, a couple years ago. Adventure Island, great game. Great series in general. Bonk's Revenge, awesome platformer. Another one of my favorite Game Boy games is definitely Kid Dracula. Oh, this game is so much fun. It's making fun of the Castlevania series, but it's cutesy and charming. But don't let this cute, art fool you. This game definitely is hard. Cool World. Really love the movie. The game, not so much. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Fall of the Foot Clan. Not the best Turtles game on the Game Boy, but it's the one that brings back the most nostalgia. Just because it's one of the games that I got with my Game Boy, and I played the mess out of it everywhere I went, Loved the Turtles back then. I mean, who didn't? Dr. Franken, The Final Fantasy Legend. Straight up Tetris. Another generic game, but it is by far the best puzzle game ever. Classic right here. Another game I spent hours playing. Hundreds of hours, in fact. The Addams Family. Gargoyle's Quest is probably one of the hardest Game Boy games. Back in the day, I didn't get far at this game. And playing it recently, still didn't get far in it. It's hella hard. Mr. Chin's Gourmet Paradise. This is another puzzle type of game that's similar to something like Bubble Bobble. Miss Pac-Man. And Battletoads. Mr. Do. This is very similar to the arcade version. Another classic game. Final Fantasy Adventure. Final Fantasy Legend 2. More Final Fantasy games on the Game Boy. Great titles. Atomic Punk. This is probably the worst Game Boy game I've ever played. It's just not fun at all. Mega Man, Dr. Wily's Revenge. Sorry, I forgot the name of it there. Disney's DuckTales 2. Stop That Roach is a hilarious name for a game. But it's a fun puzzle game, and it's kind of rare also, which is weird. Alien 3. Side Pocket, another game that I spent a lot of time with back in the day. I was like obsessed with pool, and this always got me through, you know, when I needed that pool fix. Bonk's Adventure. Metroid 2, Return of Samus. The Legend of the River King. It's kind of, you know, pre-Harvest Moon, I think. I like Harvest Moon a little bit better, but, you know, this is fun. Castlevania Adventure. The Page Master. Played a lot of this game back in the day as well because I loved the game. I mean, who didn't love Macaulay Culkin back then? Fish Dude. And I keep talking about this game, but finally showing you Bubble Bobble. Classic. And then we have the final batch of Game Boy games. They're all in plastic covers for no particular reason. Felix the Cat. Great platformer. It's another rare Game Boy game. Tetris 2. Not as awesome as the original Tetris, but, you know, it's more Tetris. More modes. Mercenary Force. Fun shmup or Contra-like game. Castlevania Legends. This is the best Castlevania game on the Game Boy. It's amazing. And it's also kind of hard to find. But if you can get your hands on it, definitely pick it up. This is the only import Game Boy game that I have. It's P-Cross 2, and it's so much fun to play. More puzzles than the original P-Cross game. And it's just a blast. If you guys haven't already tried out the P-Cross games, you definitely should give them a try. Must have for puzzle players out there. Q*bert. Never been into the Q*bert games. Never really got into them. But, you know, whatevs. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. As much as I love the movie, don't like this game. We have here the original Super Mario Land. Not that great, but it's a Mario game, you know. Spent a lot of time with it. And finally, Double Dragon. Fun Double Dragon port in the palm of your hands. It's a blast. So there's my Game Boy collection. I can't emphasize enough how much I love the Game Boy. Can't believe 25 years has passed and I am still playing it. The games obviously are just timeless. They're just so much fun to play. I want to thank all of you guys for watching this video, and I'll check you next time.